What is up, people? Welcome back to the show. Joining the game with me today is the legend Arnie Ho. He is a writer, six-figure entrepreneur, and a dad of one, and soon to be two. I've looked far and wide for the Twitter post to build this episode on, and I think I've found the tweet that'll absolutely blow your mind. Expect to learn how you can have more authentic human experience in the game of business, how you can build networks of not just professionals, but lifelong friends, why you're anxious all the time and can never stick to one thing, how sugar is slowing down your business, what Arnie believes are the key traits of every successful entrepreneur, why you're not winning as an entrepreneur is completely your fault, and how to fix it, and much, much more that I can't fit into the episode intro. These episodes are simply getting better and better each week, and the guests are only getting more and more special. So if you don't want to miss any of these episodes, just press the subscribe button. It helps to support the show. It gives me a little ego boost every time I check the analytics. And of course, it'll ensure you'll never miss an episode ever when they drop. So go and do that for me. You're a real one. Appreciate you. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, joining the Founder Games for the first time, Arnie Ho.
Do I need a clap?
And action. What does it mean to be human? Is it consciousness? Reproduction? Nobody can answer that question for you. But if I could sum it up, the human experience for my guest today would be three words. Just send it. From management consultant to quitting his six-figure salary at his 9 to 5 to become a six-figure entrepreneur, this guy has literally lived the life that most to dream of. And the best part is that he's only getting started. There's so much wisdom, so much knowledge that I hope to uncover today in the conversation with him. And I'm confident that the lessons we'll discuss today will change your life forever. He used to be the authenticity guy, but I'm sure he realized that to be authentic, you don't have to tell other people that you are. So now he has an adorable banner and a bio that, if I could sum up in three words, would be just send it. Those three words alone have sent him on a journey of self discovery and entrepreneurial magic. He has influenced millions of founders, entrepreneurs, and creators, and basically every single human in between. The guy is on a mission. He wants the success more than anyone else. He wants to retire his wife and her parents. He wants to build a future for his son and achieve the freedom so that he can spend more time doing what he loves with the people that he loves. This will surely be one hell of a story, and I hope to share this story with the world. A human that is insanely hardworking, unapologetically authentic, and constantly just sending it. Arnie Ho, welcome to the show.
Getting goosebumps. Wow. That is a fantastic intro. I
I
need to
know.
grab that from you and use that for myself.
Dude, and the ending rhymes too. Arnie Ho, welcome to the show. I didn't even realize that.
Let's go. It's so special when you prep something so deeply and then you actually do it live and then the
Yeah.
magic all happens. It all kind of comes together
And
and
then it
you're in this
hits. Yes.
and then it hits and there's like a moment of you're just in flow and you it's like an out of body experience.
Yeah. It's
Thank
like
you. Thank you for
you're
having me.
performing. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like whenever I was beginner on X, it was you and Ben Chan. I was like bookmarking every single post that you posted. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much value here. I could learn so much from these guys. You were like that guy. Like if there was a father figure for me on X when I first got here, it's definitely you. So this is like a huge, huge, huge episode for me. Around 2 months ago, he dropped an absolute atomic bomb of value that didn't get enough love as we discussed before, and it was the 39 lessons that you learned after 7 months on X. So here are the first 10 lines for the X nerds. In 7 months on X, I went from 0 to 13K a month. I went from 0 to 3,460 legends. I went from 0 to 1,040 email subs. Here's a list of 39 lessons I've learned so far. So today we'll dig into my favorite lessons from the list and pick, your brain on them. And we'll kick it off with the first lesson. And I kind of, appreciated this one because so it was so human. There's something really, really powerful about it. There's a person behind every account. Treat them like one. It's easy to forget that even with cold DMers, but truly, everyone are just humans like you and me. And it will help you to make better connections, and your network will carry you far. How did you kind of develop the mental model of thinking human first, even though like there's the cold DMers spamming your DMs, there's, you know, you're getting like random cold emails sometimes as well from and like all these non-human-ish behaviors. Like how do you kind of develop that model and not get frustrated with it and still, not have like this taste aversion to anybody that's like cold DMing or being too salesy or something? Like, how do you personally cut through the noise to see the other person that is, you know, on the other side?
I developed this mindset a long time ago, and it was actually when I was working I actually worked in a call center, like, many 10 years ago. Actually more than 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, I realize how old I am. And my manager at the time, really experienced guy in contact centers, sort of emphasized to me a way of leading teams, because I was leading, like, managing teams at the time,
Hmm.
that was completely flipped from what I had been trained in, which was, in essence, a people first model.
Hmm.
Because if you think call centers or contact centers, they're all about metrics and how long you take a call for, how long you go to the toilet for, whether you took a break,
True.
like it's literally to that nth degree, right? And the model basically doesn't treat people like people. They treat them as widgets to get them to squeeze the most out of people. And this is where a lot of problems happen, from contact centers. That's why contact centers have such a bad name. That people are so squeezed that they themselves treat customers in exactly the same way that they're treated by their management. And so my manager understood that, understood that if you want your people to deliver great, because at the end of the day, it's all about delivering a great customer experience,
Hmm.
you need to treat them like a human being, treat them like a person. And that meant simple things like every day, like your team start the day just asking how they're going or saying hi. Like it's literally as simple as saying hi and say goodbye. Like they were the two core things you had to do in your role as a leader. Say hi in the morning, say goodbye.
Hmm.
And because why? Because it actually acknowledges the other person as a human being. And and I really took that to heart, and it just I didn't realize it at the time. I realize it looking back now, just how far it took me in my role, in my career, this kind of attitude of how do I make this person feel acknowledged, because the bar is so low in terms of that, because as a society we've grown to not do that for one another, and the moment you treat someone in that way, something special occurs. And I it's not like I'm doing it for that purpose, but I see this happening because, like, weirdly, people just just will gravitate to you. Like they will do things for you. I guess it's a law of reciprocity, perhaps.
Mhm.
And so I guess it's just always come naturally. And so when we got into X, when I started building on X, and part of building on X is building a network and just getting to know people, I think I really thrived in that because I always thought of accounts not as like another number, but as a person behind that account. And and by doing that, I made some really great friends along the way. I had people talking about me positively to other people, which is almost the best version of thank you. That's my tea that I ordered.
Tea delivery.
It yeah. It is the best social proof you can ever get, I think, when someone speaks highly of you from someone else. Someone else speaks highly of you. And then thirdly, some of my clients have come from these people that I treated as a human being. Not immediately, because I started with these people, but later on, they came to work with me because they felt, I mean, I'm putting words in their mouth, but I believe I by doing what I did or treating people with that sort of respect, I think it garners trust and real connection. So, and it's so easy to do. I think that the primary thing here is you always look for things that are like low effort but high value. This is it. You know,
Mhm.
it might not feel like it, but it really is when you can influence someone to, I guess, yeah, to support you. It is huge. It is massive. So I'm not sure if I answered the question.
Oh, that's perfect. Beautiful. Dude, yeah, it's like one of those behaviors that take no like, basically no energy from you as a person. Just be like a human being, say hi, say goodbye, um, you know, actually try to discover the person and understand the person on the other side of the account, and that will easily put you above everyone else because, as you said, the bar is so low, not just on X, but like in society, Like I go to university now, and people like are just like whenever we're walking on the sidewalk, head down on their phone, or whenever you go into the classroom, everyone's on their phone, or whenever I go into like my professor's office, it's all heads down, nobody's talking to each other. Um, like greeting doesn't happen anymore, and it's just like, yeah, sad to kind of see it happen, but it also gives an opportunity for you to really, really stand out. And the people that are like genuinely caring and loving for other human beings are going to go far, and you're evidence of it.
Yeah, we really don't. There's a really good book that talks to this. I think it's Stolen Focus. Might be Johan Hari.
Mhm.
Really recommend that book. I think that was one of the first books that kind of set me on a trajectory to start reading more, unlock some of my like bad habits in terms of media consumption.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, and get me to, I guess, the stage where I've, pursuing entrepreneurship and what I've been doing on X. But in the book, he sort of talks about it's not the fact that people by design don't want to greet people or you know don't want to connect with other people. It's just that our society just doesn't incentivize it the way that we've built our societies. We're putting up bigger walls than ever before. We have motor vehicles that you can literally bypass your the people in your street. Um, the way our urban cities are, or our cities are designed, aren't designed for community anymore. You can look at some like older houses, you can see that they were built for community, but less and less so. And the data also all shows it as well.
mhm.
So it's just not something that people are used to either doing. or even receiving. So yes, you're yeah, totally. Like the bar is so low. I would also add, once you do it, it just makes it so much easier. Like something that I tell my clients a lot of the times and tell everyone is like go out of your way. Like make it as part of your routine to talk to people, like get to know new people. And it can feel like such a chore for people. But when you have that attitude of, oh, they're just another person, like how can I understand that there's another human being on the other side with incredible stories, dreams, goals, experiences that you could learn so much from? It just makes it so much easier to do. I mean, I'm saying this now because I'm saying it to myself, right? Like sometimes I can feel exactly the same way. So I understand that. But I can tell you, like, it can be so worth it. Yeah. I mean, there's just been so many amazing people that I've met online, like, and I'm sure you have, like, obviously with the podcast. Like,
Mhm.
it's truly outrageous, like the opportunity to meet some crazy people, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
so good. So good. Just be interested in people. I wish I recorded the podcast like from the very beginning when you hopped on the call because that's such a like beginning was such a great example of how to be a human. How to just like, you know, just have like a genuine conversation, ask questions, have the conversation, talk about things that we're both interested in. It's just like we need more of that. And if you're able to do that, it'll set you apart for sure. All right. Lesson number 3. Find your ride or die friends. They make it all worth building. These are the people that motivate you to keep driving forward when you're down. They also help you soar when you're flying. Find them and nurture this relationship. So I feel like I hear this advice a lot nowadays from, entrepreneurs, and no one actually talks about the system for doing it, or I guess like the process of doing it, because it's different from doing it in real life where you kind of just like become friends with people the more you hang out with them or by proximity. Uh, and so, how do you personally, I guess this actually connects to the first question pretty well. How do you personally find these writers and dyers? And like what kind of inputs and actions can people take, I guess, mostly online, because that's who we're speaking to find these people and build these diehard relationships?
I can only comment on how I did it. I mean, I also know like other people how they did as well. But I think about like my friends, like the people that have really pushed me to get to this point would be I'll mention them here. So Ren Wilder, if people might know his account, Wilder with Words, Nicola Nguyen, who worse, and obviously Ben Chan, who is a little bit later actually. All of them I connected just through their content because they put content out there that I really vibed with,
Hmm.
and at the same time, I think they really vibed with my content. And I think this is where writing on X is so cool. Like there's something really special about it. Because when you write, you really put your soul into it. I mean, not everyone does, but I think there's something about writing, good quality writing that bears your soul out there. And when someone reads what you've written and just connects with it, that's like there's a really special connection that happens between you and the other person. Early on when I was writing, I used to think, by making your writing better and better and clearer, it your writing is the gateway between your mind and other people. And the quality of writing made that window more accessible to other people. The problem is people don't write very well. And so it becomes unclear. And so I guess the way that I found these people was through content. Like I looked on X, and the algorithm is literally built for that, right? Like the algorithm wants to connect you to people that would they think you would enjoy connecting with, because by you connecting, you'll be on the DMs, and by the DMs, you're on the platform more, and that's what they want, right? And so I don't think it even you even need to look so hard. You just need to jump on and consume some content, find people that you think, wow, this this post blew me away. Like you talked about, reading some of my posts and thinking, wow, like bookmark, awesome. Like those sort of people, like reach out to those people and connect with them. That's one side of it. The other side of it, I think, involves yourself too. Not that you have to force it, but if you're also if you have a similar goal, you're driven as well, then you've also got to put yourself out there to almost match it with these people.
Mhm.
So I think that there's two things. And then the last thing is that, so with the story for us, I actually instigated it. So I was the one that said, "Hey guys," and it was very awkward at the time. I was like, like, because I didn't know how they would respond. I'd be like, "Oh, feel free to reject me, if you don't want to do it." But I was thinking of setting up a group between you, me. So I sent it to Nicola, and I also sent it to Ren. Ben wasn't in the picture at the time, by the way. And I said, "Hey guys, do you want to join a group together? Like, it's all cool if you want to say no. I just thought might be nice, like if us three, kind of holds each other accountable because we're all kind of building the same direction." And they were like, "Yeah, awesome, let's do it." And it it made the game so much easier, because there are so few people doing what you're doing, what I'm doing, what other people, like some of these, like Nicola, what Ren are doing. These guys who are sacrificing all the things that everyone else is doing. You know, scrolling through social media, watching Netflix shows, like just not building, like not building a life for themselves. And it can be really lonely, because if when you don't have that kind of network around you, you've always contending with this kind of battle of, am I on the right track? Should I be doing this? Everyone else isn't doing this. Why am I doing this? And there's always the temptation to just come back, because people will question you, like, oh, you tell them, oh, I can't go to this like social outing because you're like, I want to bust my ass to build this thing. And then people kind of think of you weird, like, why are you not doing it? And it takes a lot of, I guess, mental resilience to get through that. But when you have a network of people who are, or you have your ride or die friends who you can see they're busting their ass, they're getting success, it just drives you to do that thing, so that you can be like, hey, check me out. Like I'm doing it too. Like I'm getting results, and people, they celebrate it like, yes, let's go. Like, so yeah, that's how we set it up. But I don't think you can do it. I think people can do it alone, but I think it's infinitely harder. Way easier if you can do it with some people who can, yeah, drive you forward.
Yeah, you mentioned a good point there about being an entrepreneur, sacrificing Netflix, and the cost is that you're lonely. And if anything, the fact that we're all lonely and we feel this way could almost encourage you to be more open to like wanting to connect with these people, right? Don't feel like they'll reject you, but be open to it, just see it as it is, reach out to them. You see someone cool writing something cool on X, reach out to them, you know, tell them that it resonated with you. See if you can connect further. Be a human. It's basically like I love how all these pointers stacking up on top of each other. It's pretty interesting. And those will be your diehard ride or die friends. Those would be the people that are gonna go through shit together. It's gonna suck, but whenever you win together, that's gonna be like some of the best experiences of probably like your entire journey because this is like the early parts, I'm sure, of your journey as an entrepreneur, of many of these people on X. And whenever you think about your business as a whole, like whenever we're all successful, which we all will be, when we look back, this is what we're gonna remember. We're gonna remember, the diehard friends, you know, probably the silly stuff that we talk about in the group chats, the calls that we had together. Those are the things you're gonna remember. And yeah, just sharing the journey with other lonely people makes the journey less lonely. And I love that. I love that you mentioned that kind of it's not even a mental model. It's just like a way of life. Amazing. The next lesson was a short one, but I am 100% certain that it is one of the key reasons for your success and the success of nearly every entrepreneur to probably ever live. Be consistent. Do what you can to show up every day. It builds familiarity with your audience, and the compounding effect is magical. So, what are some of the habits that you have, both within your business and outside of your business, that personally allow you to stay consistent and hold yourself accountable to the work that needs to get done?
The writing habit is the biggest one. So I didn't used to write, um, but I write every day, whether it's creating content, newsletter, or just journaling.
Hmm.
Sometimes all three, sometimes just two, sometimes just one, based on like the schedule, which has changed a lot over time as well. Uh, but they're the three. It's like brushing my teeth. Like it's been a habit that's ingrained, and I think it just helps so much, right? I feel like I'll be preaching to the converted because there's a lot of people who are listening to this who are aspiring to write, but or aspiring to make it on X involves writing, and it's seriously transformative. I've been reflecting on how, and one of the things that come to mind, I haven't quite worked it out, but one of the things that I think comes to mind is the need to clarify your thoughts when you write. And the more that you do that every single day, the more clearly you see the world around you and what you've been doing.
Hmm.
And when you can do that, then it means you can better communicate your ideas and your thoughts. And when you can do that, it means that people will receive value for time, right? Like there's more value for the amount of time you have
Hmm.
to spend. Whereas someone who has to explain and over explain something, and you're like, I don't understand what this guy's talking about, which I'm sure I'm sure others have heard. But it's those people that can explain something so simply, so quickly that you go, wow, that's a person worth listening more to, buying their products from, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why, you look at your Hormozy, right? Like Alex Hormozy is just like ridiculous in the way that he's able to communicate his ideas around business, which, everyone thinks, wow, is like crazy good. But like these ideas have always been around. It's just that he can just communicate it so well because I mean, he does the work, obviously. I don't know his world, his life, but I'm sure a lot of it comes down to writing, which I know that he does have like a posting habit that he's built up that he just
Yes, those are probably the best reads. And he also writes his books like 10 times each.
yes, exactly. And so that's probably the one habit. The other things that kind of keep me performing, or these either pseudo perform, either they're placebo or they're real. I don't know. So I started a cold shower, like a one, just not a full cold shower, but like a 1 minute cold. I did some research on it and I was like, They say like
That
if you just do
yeah,
1 minute cold, like you get the benefits of it.
I tried that before, yeah.
And yeah, you tried it?
Yeah.
Tried it.
It honestly
Sounds like
wasn't
you
bad.
stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did at the end, and then it felt good, like, after you turned off the water, it felt good because like, your body would warm up again.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, it feels good. It feels really good after. But again, it's like another habit that's just there. Like I can't start my day without taking that 1 minute cold shower because it just sets everything on fire. I don't know. It's just feels like it's like part of my day that I need.
Mhm.
Um, there's that, writing, what other habits? I guess I try to do some fitness, like exercise, um, and I make it really easy for myself. I don't have any set, like, workout sort of stuff, to be honest. I do have some set workouts, but I try to be flexible with it. I think one of the things that I've learned since becoming a parent and trying to do this is that you have to be really flexible as well. But be flexible, but it's consistent. And to be flexible, consistent just means that to me, it's about making it stupidly simple to be able to d- commit to your habits. Like make it so easy to do them in those time spots that you have to do it.
Mm,
You might need to build up to it, but over time. So I try to do some strength work most days, not every day, but at least 3 to 4. Well, actually, five at least 5 times a week is what I do.
mhm.
The other habit is on weekdays. I don't have breakfast, so I don't eat any breakfast. Just helps with focus and just start my meals from like 12 or something. Go from there.
Yeah, I do the same. Fast until lunch. Super helpful
Yeah,
for the morning.
I just think it's yeah, I found myself, like, getting tired, like, slumping in the morning just from
Mhm,
the intake, and that's when I started looking into nutrition a lot and just found it works really well, especially for, trying to keep, um trying to have a lifestyle where you can still because I love food, right? So, like, I still wanna enjoy really good foods and, instead of it's so weird, like, I don't understand why people don't understand this. I guess I didn't understand this for a long time in my life that at the end of the day, like, to stay fit and lean just comes down to caloric deficits and m- maintaining calorie balance, calorie intake, and such a stupidly easy way to do it. Like just skip breakfast. All of a sudden, that's like you've just now have so much more freedom to eat like what you enjoy. Yeah, so I think it's a funny one. And then and I try to avoid like sugar and processed crap. That I think has been a big help, I guess,
mhm.
in focus. It's nothing huge, just a few things there.
Yeah, I feel like the most simple habits are usually the most impactful habits. And I actually had a my first ever solo episode for the podcast. It's literally about focus. And I think one tip was don't eat breakfast. Another tip was don't eat sugar and carbs.
I like
Such
that.
good
I like that.
advice. I mean, I've tried it and it's so good for your focus. And there's science behind it, but we're not gonna get into that. Just yeah, sugar is just terrible. Don't try to avoid it as much as
Yeah,
possible. If you
it's
want to like
nuts.
perform, if you want to do work, if you want to write, if you want to do anything, just don't eat sugar.
It's so crazy how much sugar, like when you start realizing how bad sugar actually is for your body, like how we're just not meant to be consuming so much ridiculous sugar and how it's like affecting our um like our visceral fats levels and yeah, our focus. You don't look at it the same way. I remember when I started learning about this, I was like, what the heck? Why is there so much sugar advertised everywhere?
I
And
know.
everyone's just like consuming it and it just seems so normal. I literally have a bag downstairs that I've collected of all of like the chocolate and lollies and stuff that people have brought over to my house in the past 2 years. I just like
Yeah,
I just kept it in the cupboard, and then the other day I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear this all out. So I chucked it all into this like plastic bag. So I'm like, I don't want this in my house anymore, um, because it's just been collecting dust and taking up space. So, but it's yeah, it's truly outrageous, especially for kids. Like I have a son, like, and he's 2 years old, and it's just everywhere, and I have to like constantly defend him from consuming large amounts of the sugar. Like I'm not a you know I'm not like no zero sugar or anything, but really, he doesn't even know like what candy is actually. Like he like if he saw it, I don't think he even knows what it is because he just hasn't been like I haven't exposed him to it.
that's actually a really good thing. That's really good.
And so he loves things like fruits, for example. Like he loves fruits, and it's like cool, have fruits. Like that's where you can get that kind of, and it's good for you. Like our bodies can process it.
Mhm.
Um, but we try to avoid as much sugar as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, our ancestors ate berries, they ate fruits, so not Pop-Tarts and chocolate. Alright, this next lesson hit me right in the chest. Don't avoid problems, confront them. If you're anxious about something, it means something should be done about it. I've made the mistake of ignoring something when it should have been addressed so many times. So I feel like this habit or this bad habit is something I've struggled with and still kind of struggle with. And it's definitely painful because you can still be working and like I guess solving some sort of problem, but still avoiding other problems that are causing you more pain. And so I think it comes down to like the needle movers versus the procrastination almost, where you're avoiding the really painful problems by solving other problems and telling yourself that you're productive. I feel like this is a pretty big uh, problem that a lot of entrepreneurs face. And so, how do you kind of psych yourself up or hype yourself up to get into the headspace where you're just solving those painful needle moving problems, uh, and just like tackling them head first instead of, I guess, focusing on less like lower leverage problems to avoid the most painful problem.
Well, I'm preaching to myself here when I wrote that like firmly, and I'm not gonna lie and say that I figured it all out, but I've learnt a few different ways to make myself do it. So since that time, I've in my mind, I see anxiety differently. I s- the way I describe anxiety, or the way that the mental framework that I have for anxiety, is the gap between the work that needs to be done and the work that you are doing is the amount of anxiety you experience.
Hmm.
So there's something that you need to be doing, but the wider that gap becomes, the more anxious you will become. And I keep that framework in mind because it makes me go, if I get that work done, if I get that thing done, that thing that's making keeping me up at night, then that gap shortens. So having that kind of framework helps. The other mental model is to almost reframe these problems as like, oh, I'm doing this because it's painful. Like, how can you make this difficult thing to do into a fun thing to do?
Hmm.
Like reshaping that mindset towards it. Because when you treat it in that way, you're more likely to actually do that thing. That's the other one. And the third one that I think helps is it's more simple now. It's more simple now. How can you take this huge thing, this problem that you have, and boil it down to something small, something simple, and something that you will do right now, not later,
Mhm.
our default reaction is to treat these issues as big, complex later. That hard conversation we're supposed to have, that document we're supposed to write, or that giveaway we're supposed to write, um, that call that you're supposed to have, we make it bigger than we need to. And then it gets bigger and bigger, and we shy away from it because we don't want to do hard things. That's just not hard coded in our minds, in our lizard brains. Our lizard brains are literally hard coded to avoid doing
Yeah.
the hard thing. So you've got to fool your lizard brain into thinking, oh, this is more simple now.
Uh-huh.
This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because if
There's a
it's simple and
payoff.
yeah, you get a payoff from or you get like a reward because it's simple and fun. So if you reframe it in a way that makes it where you can break it down into like little chunks that are fun to do, eventually the hard thing satisfies your lizard's brain because you're not perceiving it as a hard thing anymore. Yeah. How do you actually reframe it as fun though? Like what if it's like a really like imagine the most tedious thing that you have to do for your business. Like how do you make it fun?
And I say this again without saying I've solved it, but one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is, well, and I wrote about this in my newsletter the other day, and I spoke about it with one of my clients because they were talking about how they were struggling and they were like getting burnt out, and this is like really hard, all those sort of things. And I said to him, well, this is what hard is supposed to feel like. Like this is hard. It is. And I think we automatically get into this mindset of I need to avoid pain and hardship because our lizard brain is always geared to do that. So we almost treat it as if we're always running away from it. But when we put our reframe into actually, I do hard things. I just do the hard thing. That is who I am. That is my identity. Then the hard thing doesn't feel hard. I don't know if it necessarily feels like fun, but it can be because it's part of your identity. You know, you eat it because you're like, that's just who I am. I do the hard thing. And if you can do that, I think you just get ahead of so many other people. So many, because everyone else is doing exactly what I'm talking about, that running away from hard things. How can I make
Mhm.
this easier for myself? How can I do less so that, but if you just realize this is hard and have the expectation that this is hard, but that's okay because you signed up to do the hard thing, then in essence it becomes easier, which becomes fun. The pressure just kind of removes itself from it when that happens.
Yeah. I just thought of a great analogy for this. Or at least I like it. Um, being an entrepreneur means like you're a firefighter. It's like your duty to like run towards pain, right? Like if you imagine there's a building on fire, people are running out. Those are your customers, by the way. They're running out away from the pain of the fire, but then it's your duty to go to that pain and alleviate it, solve it, extinguish the fire. And so if you can just adopt that mindset of going after painful things and having the identity and feeling like it's your duty almost, like mesh together your duty with your identity and see it as okay, hard things are what I do. It is my duty to go save lives, to go alleviate this pain, to extinguish the fire because I'm a firefighter, I'm an entrepreneur. Then it's almost like purposeful, it's like fulfilling, right? And whenever you can create that identity, how would it not be fun? You know, at least that's where I see it.
I think the fun part also comes in when you've after you've done it as well and can look back and see the proof of the work that you've done by doing the hard things.
Mhm. Yeah, looking
'Cause
back and actually seeing the evidence and the results is so rewarding. So rewarding. You don't have less problems the more money you make. You just have different ones. Set your expectations. So now that we're kind of talking about burnout, I feel like this is probably one of the reasons why a lot of the more on a, like a higher level, like for like higher level entrepreneurs, ones are seeing a little bit more. They're introducing more complexity to their business. Um, they have more problem. They don't have more problems. They just have different problems. And so I'm sure you're kind of probably either in that stage right now or entering that stage right now. So how do you personally deal with like the nature of business, of doing business and the evolution of your problems? And how is it kind of, you know, compounded for you? Like how have you faced this pain, the pain of being an entrepreneur?
where that lesson came from was in my reflection over the all that time, like the 7 months I'd been on, and, I remember all those different moments where I would be striving to, like, I wanna make my first dollar online, and you feel like this is the like, if I get to this point, alright, we got this. And you get to this point, and then you're like, "Oh, shit." Like, I get to the next point,
Uh-huh.
and this is hard, and you're like, "Okay, alright, the next point. Once I get here, this is it. Like,
Then I can stop.
I
Then I
got
can stop.
this."
It'll yeah, I'll have
1,000.
achieved everything.
Yeah, 5,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. And then obviously, like, when I hit the 10K, it was like, "Oh, that's it. Like, I've made it at this point." And it wasn't like that at all.
Mhm.
If anything, you almost enjoy being back at 0 than when you were at 10K. And it's not like anything changed, like, it was like, actually, I just have different problems now at this point. And sometimes the problems that you had at the start are actually, like, were more enjoyable. And so I realized I had to change my expectation of these different milestones that I kind of created for myself. I had created these expectations of, like, if I get here, like, things will be great. But that's not the truth. The truth is when you get here, there will be different problems, different things you need to pursue, different everything. And and again, kind of like the whole setting expectations about what is hard and that you signed up for hard. When you sign up for knowing that there will be problems regardless of where you are at, and that's okay, I think it allows you to navigate that process or navigate being in that situation infinitely better and avoids what you talk about burnout, because I think that's where it kind of came from. I think that burnout happens or you get to the point of that burnout when you get to that, that point where you aim for, but it also means you have so much more you need to do, to kind of get to that point, especially in like the work that like the done with you kind of industry.
Mhm.
Unless you've figured out how to scale it, by hiring or um, building a lot more systems. But early on, when you reach that point, it's your time, right? And if it's your time, then you can really get close to burnout, which I was many times close to really burning out, and that burnout was largely contributed by not having the right expectations, expecting something else and not getting it, and feeling let down by the circumstance. But I realized it's not that I've been let down by the circumstance. It's that I had an incorrect way of looking at this situation. And when you can look at it, reframe it differently, then you can navigate it so much better.
Yeah. It's all about just reframing it in a way that, okay, new problem, but I eat hard things for breakfast or for I don't eat breakfast. I eat hard things for lunch and dinner. So so these problems are nothing to me. I'll just solve them. All right, this is one of my favorite lessons. If you think you're not a winner, then you'll never win on social media. Being a winner starts from what's in between the ears. Everyone just holds themselves back. Do you believe that you are a winner? And if so, have you adopted the winner's mentality despite, the failures, the setbacks, the early mornings, the late nights that have kind of, tried to make you feel like a loser? Do you believe that you are a winner?
Do I?
Yes.
It's funny. I don't often. Well, I don't go around thinking I'm a winner. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm a winner. And maybe that should be phrased. Maybe that lesson should be phrased a bit differently. I think it still holds because what I was trying to emphasize is, and I see it too much, where people don't think of themselves as winning because they are constantly comparing themselves to others, constantly thinking that there needs to be a different level of a different standard that they need to live up to. And we're so guilty of that, right?
Yeah.
But when really, if we take the time to genuinely look at what we've done, what we've achieved, and give ourselves that grace to say, that was awesome. Like I did a really good job here. Like I did. I think we'll see ourselves so much better and be more willing to share like what was great, like what worked, how you have won online, which then helps you be able to help someone else, to be able to inspire others. I think that everyone holds themselves back way too much. What I do always find myself reminding myself of, sorry, what I do find I remind myself of a lot is that I want to lead someone. Like I want to be the person. I want to be that person for that person, for those people who are struggling through that something. And whoever your ICP is or whatever it is, like what I recommend on social media is to be the guy, be the man, be the person, be the woman, be the be that person who will lead others. And we're talking here about obviously how do you, I guess, influence others to follow, to build an audience, to potentially buy from you. That's that is obviously one of the byproducts of it. But I think by doing this as well allows you to fulfill with what I think a lot of people want to do is is impact others in a meaningful way and genuinely help other people. But unless you are willing to put yourself the position of being the leader to other people, which is about having that winning mentality, then no one is ever going to take you seriously or to listen to you because you wouldn't even listen to yourself. And so it starts there. And I remember very clearly it was like a switch in my mind when I realized, like I actually wrote a long form about this, about the leader's mindset. That was like a pivotal moment in my whole kind of like X building phase where all of a sudden I realized the mindset that I needed to write, because up to that point, I think I wrote it as like just as like a friend or like, you know, trying to be trying to just be like everyone else. But I realized if you really want to have an impact, then you need to have the mindset of I will be the leader for all these people. And that transforms your everyday in terms of whether you do that hard thing because you're like, I'm going to do this hard thing because it's going to help someone else, or you start looking at what all the things you've done and think about how you this could help someone else, which then gets expressed through your writing and your content.
The leader, yeah, the leader's mentality is such a powerful frame to like mesh together with the winner's mindset because you have so much inner belief within yourself that you can have like a higher purpose almost to lead other people to help them win, and by doing so you leave more impact. And I see a lot of brands saying, or a lot of accounts saying like build with impact or building brands that change lives, or what, something like that. It's like, who are the people that are actually walking the talk? And I feel like you're one of the few people that are actually walking the talk and being a genuine leader that inspires other people to win. And that's just so rare. But when you find those kind of people, it's really special. All right. When I was doing research for this episode, your banner was the first thing that caught my eye. And for the people listening, it's a photo of his son holding an ultrasound. Tell me about what the banner means to you and why you made the change from the branded profile to where it is now.
So, I mean, obviously, it was pretty special. That photo. We wanted to figure out how we can tell like our family about the second one coming, and it's like, well, let's just get the little dude to hold it up and just took photos and stuff. So that's where the photo came from. We took it a few months before when I put it as my banner. The banner came from months earlier, kind of wrestling with the banner a bit. I'd had already wanted to change it, but I just didn't know what to change it to, and it was honestly like it was what it was, and there wasn't anything wrong with it. It was fine. Like people talk about people make giveaways and stuff about it, and so I
Yeah.
apologize for everyone who did that, and now I've changed it. But I wrestled with it. I wanted to change it because it just didn't. Ironically, it didn't feel authentic to me in a way. Like it was like build your brand with authenticity, but it just didn't. It just didn't capture. I felt some of my, at least how I view authenticity, which is the it's when you're perfectly imperfect.
Ooh, what a line.
And and to me it just looked like it was trying to be this whole perfect kind of feel. And so I wanted to change it for a while, and I remember the reason I changed it was I went for coffee one morning with my wife and my son, and it was during the day. Like one day, I think we had like a appointment for something, for like a doctor's appointment maybe. I have no idea what that was. We were just getting coffee, and it was just like such a special moment. Like I just thought about it and where this is what my life is about. This is these moments that I just treasure, like being able to be here with my wife, be here with my son, grabbing a coffee in the morning. Like it just felt so special. And then in that moment, I was like, you know what? Like, what's really important to me is family, is my son, and so I was like, based on that, I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna put this as my banner, and you know, we'll kind of go from there. Didn't overthink too much, just send it. So I sent it, and it is what it is. It's there now. Um, Honestly, like, if anyone wants to make a banner, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Um, if you want to, because one of the things I teach is that, like, your banner should really quickly convey who you are and your unique selling proposition. My banner does not do any of those things, but for me, I just felt like it was more important that I do that for myself than it was to do it for followers or anyone else out there. For now, that's it doesn't mean that I won't go back to, like, changing the banner to something else. Um, but in the moment that I'm in, it's just this this felt authentic to me.
I personally will say I think the banner play that you're doing right now, it's not only authentic, but it's fucking genius. It's like, at least the way I think about it, it's so you already have the brand that everyone knows. So whenever they come to your profile, they don't need to read that on a banner. And whenever they see your current banner, it just gives off this energy that like, holy shit, this dude. Like it instantly connects you with that person. So I think the banner is genius, and I love that you are doing it for yourself and not for anybody else. If you could experience 1 minute of one moment of one memory in your life again, what would it be, and why would you choose to experience it again?
Wow, this is a huge question. Oh, far out. There's one that came to me immediately.
Mhm.
Damn, this is hard. Do you ask this to all your guests? Like,
Yeah, it's the last question on every single episode.
and how do they go answering it?
John talked about meeting his girlfriend. Um,
Oh, aw.
yeah, it's like super heartfelt, any moment that you would really just want to experience again because it means something to you.
Oh, jeez. How deep do we go here?
However deep you want to go.
Gosh, there's so many. I'll just say the one that came to me, like, the moment you said it. I don't know why it came to me. I don't know if it exactly is the one, but it just came to me, and you know what? Like, it feels right. So so the moment is actually, um it's actually bizarre. Um so I guess the context behind it is my mother passed away when I was really young, so about 9 years old, and I grew up with my mother. Like, I didn't know who my dad was, so in essence, after I was 9, I became an orphan child, I suppose. Is that how you might say it? And the the benefit of being that age, um, was that I didn't really understand what was going on. The the drawback of being that age from that happening was that I could understand what had happened, but it just it never clicked properly. And the result of that is over the next few years, I don't think I properly processed all of it. Like, I just didn't really understand it, and then as I grew older, I kind of understood it a bit more, but I hadn't processed the loss properly. And then I remember when I was 16, I think I was 16, 16 or 17. I can't remember how old I was now, but 16 or
Mhm,
17 or something like that.
mhm.
I remember a very vivid, incredibly vivid dream where my mom was back in my life. Like, it just felt real. It was we spoke. It was almost like she never left my life, and I was that age, and it was like, this is what it's like for her to be there. And I remember how joyful it felt in that time. Like, it was like joy amplified to like the nth degree, like nothing else. It was such a precious time. And and I remember the moment I woke up and I realized it was just a dream, I bawled my eyes out. Like, you wake up and you realize it just all wasn't it was all just a dream. And I cried like crazy. I was just like in my bed, just yeah. But it was so powerful because I felt like at that moment was when I properly had closure and it felt like I actually said my goodbyes. Like it finally all processed and I could move on in my life. So when you said what is that moment that I would replay, would be that fleeting moment when I woke up and I could remember that entire dream so vividly. I would replay that moment because it was so special because I knew that was because I remembered all of that. I could remember all of that dream at that exact moment. Yeah.
Dude, wow. I'll leave it at that. Arnie, let the world know what you've been up to. If you want to, this is the part where you get to plug everything that you've got going on or anything that you got planned for the future. Let's hear it.
I'd love to, man. I am busily uh the main focus of the moment is I'm busily organizing the I don't know if you saw the X Money charity conference.
Uh-huh.
So I am in the middle of organizing a charity conference at the moment. We're supporting a charity called Tara for Women, who supports female entrepreneurs in social impact activity. The whole goal and idea about it is like build community within the X Money world. Like, let's see if we can bring people together, um, and and then just raise funds as a community for a
Mhm.
good cause. So more details to come. I'm actually jumping off this to be able to like organize it with a small team that that have come together to support it. So yeah, so look out for that. I'd love for people to sign up once we get tickets out there to join along. We're trying our best to get some incredible guest speakers. I actually just before jumping on the pod announced that we got our first speaker, which is Dakota Robertson. So
Hell yeah.
pretty massive. He's what an absolute legend to just like signing up
Mhm.
without hesitation. And so yeah, we're hoping to have a few more names that are at least known in the X Money community and get them there. So, if you would love to see someone be a guest on that conference, I'd love for people to just give these guys a nudge to do it because, yeah, it'd be awesome. And I think if we can get some really cool names, yeah, we can really like collectively make a great impact whilst at the same time get some value. Everyone gets some value out of it as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's to come. And yeah, I mean, and then I guess like I'm on X, so if people need help with anything at the moment, I've got my kind of core offer that just helps people with building out their personal brands and um to monetize or not, up to them. Um, that's yeah, that's the other thing that I've got going at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arnie Ho. This episode, dude, hit hard. Holy. Thank you so much, dude. Like, thank you for hopping on. Seriously.
Ryan, thank you for having me, man.